In this video, we will take a closer look at different ways to integrate other systems with boards on fire to automatically retrieve and update data in our solutions. This can involve data from, for example, an ERP system, production system, CRM, a database, an Excel file, or almost any data source. As long as you know what data you need and where it is available, it is usually straightforward for boards on fire to receive your data. But let's start from the beginning in boards on fire. Our customers have boards for digital daily management, built with different components to monitor, for example, key metrics in various areas, staffing, deviations, improvements, etc. And if we look here under settings, we can see that all components are connected to something we call a data source. In this case, it's named quality. It's in the data source that all data is stored, whether it is entered manually in boards on fire or retrieved from another system. When you create a new data source, you name it and create one or more fields for the data that will be handled. In this case, there are two fields, goal and outcome, both of which are of the number data type. But as we can see here, we also support a range of other data types, allowing us to build the data model in boards on fire based on how it looks in your ERP system or other systems from which you want to retrieve data. When you add a new data source, a REST API is automatically created for that data source with documentation according to the Open API standard, available inside boards on fire, which is used for integration. It includes the usual REST actions commonly used, but also an import function designed to handle large amounts of data in bulk at once. This is often necessary in integration. You periodically retrieve multiple rows of data that are continuously updated, and we perform an upsert, as it is called in database language. If the row doesn't exist, we add it, and if it does, we update it. So it's common for this endpoint to be used in integrations with boards on fire. Now, let's look at how such an integration can be done. There are actually a few different ways to do this. Today, although there are more and more data sources publicly available on the web, in 99% of cases, all the data you, as our customer, want to import into boards on fire is behind your firewalls, and neither you nor we have any interest in opening a tunnel through your firewall. So, to get the data that is only available to you out to us, something called an integration client needs to be built. What it does is connect to a data source. In this case, it's a database, but it could just as easily be an ERP system, an API, an Excel file, or somewhere else where you have your data available. The integration client retrieves the data and then maps it to fit the structure you set up earlier when you created the data source in boards on fire. The data is sent to our API, stored in our database, and all components on your boards on fire boards that display data from that data source are notified that there is now updated data, triggering a refresh to ensure that the latest data is always displayed on the boards. This integration method works well, but requires some resources. You need a developer to build the integration client, ensure that it retrieves and maps data correctly, and update the client as needed. Whether you have those resources internally or work with an IT consultant, some competence and development effort are required. To bypass this and make integration even easier for our customers, we have developed another way to integrate with boards on fire. A file integration where all you really need to do is continuously upload a CSV file to us via SFTP. It is stored in our Azure storage, and there we have a trigger that as soon as the CSV file is updated, automatically starts an integration job that reads the file, and we have a configuration that specifies which column value in the CSV file should be mapped to which field in the data source in boards on fire. Once the mapping is done, the data is sent to our API, and all relevant components in boards on fire are updated in exactly the same way as in the example with the integration client. The difference with file integration is that we have essentially removed the need for a developer by mapping the data for you. And nowadays, this is usually what happens. We hardly build any integration clients anymore. Finally, let's look at another possibility that is very convenient for all our customers using Microsoft Power BI for data analysis and reports. Data that you retrieve in Power BI can easily be sent into boards on Fire completely automatically with the help of Power Automate, another tool in Microsoft's Power Platform designed to automate workflows, tasks, and processes in various programs and services. In this example, we have taken our own sales statistics from our CRM system, created a data source in Power BI to retrieve the data there via the Upsales API, and then publish the Power BI report with the sales figures to Power BI service. All of this is basic for those working in Power BI, and even when we now take it further with Power Automate, it is relatively easy. In Power Automate, we have created a flow that performs a task in a few simple steps. At a specified time interval, in this case daily, the dataset is retrieved from the Power BI report and refreshed to ensure the most updated figures are included. Then a query is made against the dataset, a CSV table is created, and the CSV table is sent via SFTP to our SFTP server, where it is stored. Once the CSV file reaches the SFTP server, our integration engine takes over, mapping the data and updating all the boards and boards on Fire in exactly the same way as with the file integration in the previous example. These kinds of connections between Power BI and boards on Fire via Power Automate are becoming more and more common as our customers discover how easy it is. And it is truly a great solution, both for you and for us, because you manage your data yourselves, we have no access whatsoever, and you choose exactly what you want to send into boards on Fire. So this was a quick overview of how integrations between boards on Fire and other systems work. And as mentioned, as long as you know what data you can use and where it is available, boards on Fire can certainly receive it. Feel free to contact us if you want to know more and get started with integrations to our solutions.